Hey guys, welcome to the second episode of Video Game Memories. Now, today's little series is about F-Zero. Now, back in 1991, a game came out for the Super Nintendo called F-Zero. Obviously, this was the first one. Now, I don't actually have a physical copy of that first F-Zero game because the SNES that I had when I was a kid, I don't know what happened to it, but I don't have it anymore. I think it broke. So that's why I got this out here. This here is a Super Nintendo Mini. I think it came out in 2017. Basically what this is it's a mini SNES, and you can play it on a HD television, and inside of it, it's got 21 pre-installed games. One of those games is F-Zero, the original one. Now, what can I say about this game? It was one of the first games on the Super Nintendo that actually used an engine called Mode 7, which was a very common engine to use in racing games because of the fast-pacedness. I remember back, how long ago? I must have been about 7 years old when that game came out. I remember one of my friends from school, every Friday and Saturday he used to go to the video shop and rent a game for the weekend, and that's what you did back then. Of course, you can't really do things like that now because of how far technology has come. Anyway, he rented F-Zero one weekend, and it was the weekend he was staying around mine for, I think it was a couple of nights actually. So we had the whole weekend, and we put it in the Super Nintendo, we turned it on. Okay, looks like a generic racing game. Well, the cars, there are only 4 of them, but they look futuristic. You had the Blue Falcon, you had the Wild Goose, you had the Fire Stingray, and then there was a yellow one. I cannot remember what it was called. That's a shame. So anyway, it was 4 cars on the track, and you would race each other. Okay, it had a futuristic setting, buildings in the background looked something from, I don't know, Blade Runner or something like that. And I'll tell you what, it was a very interesting racing game because it was futuristic in a way, and these vehicles didn't have wheels or anything, they were hover vehicle type things. That changed dramatically 6 years later. 1997. Wow. I remember I was in food tech at school. Now, I knew this game had come out. This game was called FZero X, this one here. I was in food tech, and one of my really good friends, I won't say any names, but one of my really good friends, he came into food tech, and he was like, I've rented out FZero X. And I was like, what? So obviously I went round to his after school, and he was telling me all through class, it's got the same music and everything, and it's so much better. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it, because it was one hell of a step up from when we actually got on here. Now, this was one of the first games on the N64, I don't know how they did it, to actually run at 60 frames a second. Yeah, it's a Nintendo 64 game that ran at 60 frames per second, and that wasn't the only improvement. So we went from 4 cars to 30 cars. 30 cars, so they added 26 new cars. And all of the tracks, apart from the fact that there are a lot more, they weren't all flat. They went up in the air, turned around like a corkscrew, roller coaster hoops, all of that. The roads were like this, and it was fucking fast. It was really fast. It was like pure futuristic racing. It was absolutely incredible. This one here, I was really addicted to. I love the Super Nintendo version, but this one, absolutely blew it out of the water. What a game, what a game, absolutely fantastic. A few iterations have come since then. I mean, they haven't done a HD re-release or anything. If you own a Wii, you could download the Wii game. If you had a Wii U, you could download it on the Wii U shop. So all of that major goodness. I highly recommend it if you haven't tried it. So that was 1997. It always seems to be 6 years, doesn't it? Because in 2003, what did we get? We got FZero GX. Now this was for the Nintendo GameCube. They made one more F-Zero game after this in 2004, but that was for the Game Boy Advance. It was called FZero GP something, which wasn't a heavy hitter like any of these ones, but yeah. So anyway, we got the 2003 one. This one was for the GameCube. The jump from X to GX was not the same from F-Zero to F-Zero X, and that's because in F-Zero GX we still had the 30 cars, we still had, you know, the 60 frames per second, but of course what this did bring to the table was story mode, a garage where you could modify your cars and everything like that. All sorts of ways you could mod these. And obviously it was a hell of a graphical improvement. I think that was the biggest improvement, the graphical jump. Now, since the GameCube, we've managed to go through the whole Wii life cycle and the Wii U life cycle, and we're now onto the Switch, and we haven't had a new F-Zero game since GX. Now, I'm one of those fans, forgive my French, for fucking loving that franchise. Nintendo, if you're watching this, bring it back. We need a new F-Zero game. We need it on the Switch now. And I tell you what, I would be the first one in line to get it. What I can say is that in 2017, a digital-only game came to the Nintendo Switch shop. And that game, I don't have a physical copy because it is digital only, but that game is called Fast RMX. It's basically a love letter to F-Zero. If you play it, if you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. So it's not F-Zero, but it's pretty much exactly the same. It's the same type of cars. It's the same fast-paced roads. They all loop and spin. There's jumps and everything like that. It is pretty much the same, and you have boost meters and everything like that. So that's the closest we've come. And I'll tell you what, I've got that Fast RMX game. It is an absolutely fantastic game. I've got great nostalgic memories for these games. F-Zero X, me and my mate who I played F-Zero GX with was the one that hired F-Zero X for the first time. I used to go around his house every Friday night and pretty much stay all weekends, and we used to sit in his Matchbox room in front of that CRT television playing these games when we were, you know, that much younger. Good old days. These were some really, really great video game memories. Guys, what did you think? What video game memories do you have? What franchises have you got a lot of passion for? Please put these down below, and yeah, it'd be interesting to know what you think. So, I think that's going to do it for this episode. So, anyway guys, until the next one.